Hey everybody, happy Friday on what is election day part 3 or 4. We're still going. So we are testing out a new system here for our virtual coffee hour. So you may notice the screen looks a little bit different. We are using a system that will hopefully allow us to simulcast this to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So hopefully this is a great way where you will be able to find us anywhere across multiple platforms. And yeah, it's really exciting. What a time to be alive that we are able to do this. So just a couple of caveats, because we are testing out a new system, we're testing it out live. So I have my staff waiting on standby via Slack to make sure that questions get through to me. So feel free to type questions in the comments, in the replies. It may or may not show up on my end. We're figuring this out as we go along. I see a Facebook comment from my dad. He says, I like it. Cool. This is awesome. So hopefully I'll be able to see the comments and questions on my end. But this is really exciting. So thanks for bearing with us. If it goes out, if it cuts out, we're trying new things and trying to make sure we can reach as many people as possible. So with that said, I am State Senator Mallory McMorrow. If you are new to joining us for our virtual coffee hours or just want a refresh of how this works, this is your opportunity to hear directly from me. What we do here is I give you an update on what's happening in the legislature, in news, getting some questions answered. This is your opportunity to ask questions directly of me. Go ahead and type them in the comments. Because we are streaming across multiple platforms, I will read your name and your question out loud. So in case anybody wants to see this video elsewhere, they know where the question comes from and they have the context. And we will go from there. Oh my gosh, I see Representative Koopa has joined us. Hello, Representative. Congratulations on re-election. Representative Koopa is coming back to represent Troy and Clawson in the legislature, and we couldn't be more proud of that. So I want to jump right into it. Obviously, it is election week. That is something that I think all of us had to get used to this year for the first time. And I just want to, first of all, applaud all of the hard work of all of our clerks, our Secretary of State, everybody who signed up to work the polls this year as an election inspector, as a poll worker. There were so many people, and one of the things that was amazing was that all of our clerks said that they were booked up. They had more than enough people who signed up to work the elections this year. That's always been an issue in previous elections, is not having enough people who want to work the elections, but they have more than enough, which was amazing. So thank you to everybody who made this happen. Obviously, running an election of this magnitude where we had such high turnout, Oakland County shattered records on turnout. We had, I believe, over 75% voter turnout here in Oakland County. And that's amazing. And we saw turnout go up on both Democrat, Republican, Independent, I mean, across the board, more people voted. And that was really exciting to see. And everybody who signed up to work the election helped make this run smoothly. This was a very smooth election. There weren't issues at the polls that we heard of. We heard people were getting in and out quickly. Lines were moving. Absentee ballots were counted quickly. You see some other states across the country are still counting. And even though we had record absentee ballot use as well, now that this was the first year that we could do no reason absentee, we still finished counting in Michigan within, a day or two. And that is just a testament to everybody who I know has put months, if not years, of work into getting ready for this election. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And want to just kind of dive in right off the bat to some of the questions and concerns that we are hearing from constituents about the election. So number one, I just want to address head on any of the claims of voter fraud that are taking place. We have a very, very secure election system here in Michigan. We require paper ballots to vote, so it's not voting on a touchscreen. We have those physical paper ballots, which are an audit system that we can use. We have bipartisan poll challengers that are able to monitor the count at every counting location, and that was the case across the state. We have checks and balances throughout, so it is secure. And we are happy to provide any of the information that any of you want to know about poll challenger law in the state of Michigan, I know that the Detroit Free Press was live streaming, from example, from the counting center down at TCF in Detroit. So anybody could log in and watch it happen. If you actually want to stay up for hours and watch people painstakingly count ballots, you can. So I want to address that head on. We just are not seeing any rampant voter fraud. We have in Michigan a system where your signature has to be verified. It's checked against the system. And we saw during the primary, one of the things that we started seeing was, people who had passed away had voted. Well, in Michigan, if you vote via absentee, and unfortunately you pass away before election day, your ballot is discarded. So we have a system that checks against who has turned in a ballot, against death certificates and records. All of our clerks work on all of those issues, and they are discarded. So our system is very secure. I really, really respect everybody who is an election official here in the state, Republican and Democrat. I have very good relationships with people who align with all parties, who just believe in doing this and doing this right. So wanted to address that head on. And then we've also gotten some questions about the legislature's role in this election. There were some stories. There was a story in the Atlantic about potentially another state legislature sending in electors to select their choice for president against maybe the popular vote. Here in Michigan, there was a resolution that was introduced by Senator Ed McBroom related to some other issues that had come up with elections that were in our courts about ballots being returned potentially after 8 p.m. on election day, being counted if they were postmarked ahead of time. Here in Michigan this year, no ballot that was received after 8 p.m. on election day, even if it was in the mail, would count. So everything that went into the count took place by election day, by the deadline, by 8 p.m. But within that resolution, Senator Jeff Irwin, who is one of my colleagues, introduced an amendment for the legislature to respect the will of the voters. And that passed unanimously on a roll call vote. So Republican and Democrat in the legislature signed on to say, whatever the will of the voters is, we as legislators will respect that and will send our electors accordingly. So that's what I want to update on there. And we're happy to post documents of that if anybody is interested in taking a look at them. But I was very pleased to see that across the board, unanimously, on a bipartisan basis, we here in Michigan respect the will of the voters and are committed to seeing that through. And we learned a lot this election. So I'm just really excited, and I'm sure tired, like a lot of people, waiting for the news to come in. But more to come as the returns from around the country continue to come in. And just additionally, to anybody who ran this year or who worked on a campaign, thank you for stepping up and thank you for being part of it. I know, having run 2 years ago and waiting for our returns to come in, just how exhilarating and exhausting, and there's just so many emotions, and I am just so proud of everybody across the board, across the political spectrum, anybody who stands up and says, I believe in this and I want to put my name on a ballot to try to make things better. That is so hard and really vulnerable, because you're putting yourself out there for people to judge you, and you're committing the lives of yourself and your family and your friends and every volunteer who believe in your cause to fight with you for probably campaigning for well over a year. So thank you to everybody who did that. It's just amazing to watch happen. And this is our democracy in action. So really exciting there. All right. Moving into legislative update. We had 1 day of session this week, yesterday, to run a number of bills. There was a bill package that came up that we are working on, that is Senate Bill 1046 through Senate Bill 1051 and Senate Bill 1125. These are all bills that are packaged, that were the result of the pretrial incarceration and jails task force that was formed either last year or earlier in the year, that consists of a broad range of people, including the lieutenant governor, including Sylvia Santana, one of my colleagues, and Republican members as well, who spent months looking into how do we improve our pretrial incarceration system here in Michigan. There are a lot of people who end up in jail waiting for trial. Or who end up in jail for failure to appear, for example, who, because they spend a lot of time in jail waiting for their trial to begin, that they might be losing jobs, they might be losing income, and there's a large number of people there. So there's a robust package of bills that was introduced that we took up on the floor this week. We have not voted on them yet, but we're happy to share the details of those. If you sign up for our newsletter, I want to plug that. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter at our website, senatormcmorrow.com, and we will detail all of the bills so you can click on them, read them, review them. But that was up this week. And then we also passed the Pandemic Healthcare Immunity Act. This is Senate Bill 1185. I voted yes, actually, on an earlier version of this bill. This would have provided some protections against lawsuits for those healthcare workers who were on the front lines during the pandemic. And it's actually retroactive for the period between March and July of this year. We've seen a number of versions of this bill come through. And I know after talking to nurses and healthcare workers, we had nurses who were pulled out from retirement, who were working in other parts of the hospital. And we had doctors who were really flying blind and trying to figure out how to manage this virus during the worst of it. So fundamentally, I believe, we needed to put measures in place to protect those who were just trying everything they could to save people's lives during the worst of this pandemic. However, the latest version of this bill took out some language regarding workers' comp that was in an earlier version. And for those reasons, I voted against this version of it, because especially for those who are working in our hospitals on the front lines, we need to make sure that they have all the benefits that they need as well, and again, can earn their income. So I was a little disappointed to see that version come back, but wanted to let you all know about that. And then something that seems like a very straightforward coronavirus response, Senate Bill 910. So what you might not know is that if you are a minor under the age of 16 applying for a work permit in the state of Michigan, previously you have to physically apply on a pink sheet of paper. So it's a colored piece of paper that indicates that you were a minor looking for a work permit. But obviously, due to COVID-19, it's challenging to turn in paperwork on paper right now. So all this bill would do would be to allow minors to apply for those work permits electronically. Non-controversial, but I think an important fix during this time, and that passed as well. And then finally, I know we are all tied up in election this week, and watching the returns come in from around the country and figuring out what's next. But what I don't want to get lost is that we are breaking COVID-19 records day after day here in Michigan and across the country. Our last reported day, we saw a new high of 5,710 cases. We are seeing hospitalizations increase as well, and deaths increase. And I know that on the west side of the state, many of the hospitals in the Grand Rapids area are at or near capacity. We're not quite there yet here in Southeast Michigan, but we are seeing those numbers increase. So especially as we head towards the holidays, we have Thanksgiving coming up. Even though it's beautiful this week, and I hope everybody gets outside, take advantage of it, but the colder weather is going to send more of us inside with the doors closed. As we kind of head into winter and flu season and Christmas and Hanukkah and all of the end of the year celebrations that we want to have. Just advising everybody to be careful. We have done an incredible job here in the state of Michigan of controlling the spread of COVID-19. I always just think back to how scary and terrifying it was in March and April and May when we were seeing just this unmitigated spread. It hit us so hard here in the Metro Detroit area. And we don't want to go back to that. So we know so much more now than we did then. So make sure we're practicing best practices to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. Make sure you're wearing a mask anytime you're in public. Make sure to frequently wash your hands. Make sure to social distance. Our office, everybody in my staff has been working fully remote since March of this year. So if you are a manager or a business owner, and your office has the ability to work remotely, it does take some adjustment, but please do. CDC guidelines really indicate that anybody who can be working remotely should, and that is now reflected in MDHHS guidelines as well. So please be careful. We don't want to have to go through, nobody does, what we went through in March, April, and May. I know we all want to see our loved ones. Like I said, the holidays are coming up and it is really hard for me. You may have heard me talking about this before. We're planning a Zoom baby shower. So we're going to be doing this for the birth of my first, who's coming in January, which is not the plan that we had anticipated, but it is the safest option right now. And, I won't be seeing my family for Christmas, won't be traveling, and that is hard. So, I acknowledge that fatigue is very, very real. I feel it every day. If you had told me back in March that we would be doing this remotely at the end of the year, I don't think that I believe you, but we are here, and it's important that we keep ourselves and each other safe moving forward. So please practice best practices. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Oh, my dad is reminding me to add an announcement. I'm very, very pleased to share that I have been appointed to two boards. One is the Workforce Development Board. This is a board that was assembled to really help us. It was actually something we talked about pre-COVID of how can we set the state of Michigan up to compete with some of the other states like Tennessee, like Ohio, who are outpacing us in terms of post-secondary attainment. Michigan is a state that for a long, long time, because we are a manufacturing hub, because we are the home of the auto industry, you could, for decades, get a good paying job without a post-secondary degree. Because of automation, a lot of those jobs are going away. And what we are seeing is that Michigan is falling behind many other states that we compete with. And there is direct relationship between post-secondary attainment, and that can be college, community college. It can be skilled trades. It can be anything beyond a high school diploma. Just does so much for individuals, for all of our communities, in terms of raising income, raising your job experiences, and hopefully allowing us to attract and retain the types of companies we want to have here in Michigan that are going to provide you with good career opportunities and set us up to compete, so that we're not having to do, and you all have heard me talk about this a lot, so that we are not bending over backwards with massive tax incentives to lure companies here that hurt us in terms of our ability to fix our roads, invest in our schools, all of the sorts of things that we want to do. We need to invest in our talent. So this is a board that consists of business leaders and researchers from across the state, as well as two members from each the House and the Senate, who are appointed to the board as non-voting members. So bear with me. So I'm very excited about that. We had our first meeting this week, and the task of the board has now evolved, because since the pandemic hit, we are now dealing with the economic recovery of COVID as well, and how we get back to normal, how we get back to a fully functioning economy. And we're looking at a broad scope of issues. So housing insecurity, affordable housing, anything that is keeping people from the workforce. So that's exciting. And then I was also appointed to the Michigan Council on Future Mobility and Electrification, which is going to take a look at our signature industry and just how we get around. And both are working through different departments of LEO within the State Department. So that is outside of my normal legislative role, but I'm really excited to dig into both of those. And I'm very grateful to the governor for considering me for those appointments. I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, just a reminder, feel free to type them into the comment section. It looks like I'm able to get comments coming through on my end, so I can see them. If you have any questions at all, feel free to type them in. While we wait for any potential questions, big news for anybody who is looking for a job. Our office currently has 2 part-time job openings available that we're very excited about. And we would encourage you to apply. So one is for a part-time digital communications ninja rockstar expert, somebody who knows Facebook, is comfortable with writing, email, setting up on systems like this, so that we can more effectively reach more people, expanding our digital presence, especially as more of us are continuing to be remote and stay home. So please apply if that is you. The other part-time role is our constituent services assistant. So this is great for anybody who's worked in the service industry or as a social worker, somebody who loves people and solving problems. You would be the front-facing person to work directly with our constituents when they have issues with state departments, with getting their license renewed, with working through unemployment. There's a lot of reasons that people call their state Senate office, and you would be the person in charge of being a listening ear and trying to help make people's lives better. I think it's such a really, really valuable role because you can have a direct impact on people's lives and solve problems for them. So those are both open now. Check out the Facebook posts for details about that and how to apply. And please spread the word. We are hoping to fill both of these roles before the end of the year and get everybody kind of ramped up and running as we head into 2021. All right, so with that, last call for questions, comments. I'm not seeing anything come in the Facebook comments right now. So yeah, last call. If you have anything else, speak now or hold your peace until we do this again. So for those who may not know, we do this every Friday that the Senate is in session. So I actually got a panicked call from my mom last week because we did not have one because the Senate was not in session, who was concerned that something happened to me because she logged onto Facebook and didn't see me. So Mom, don't panic if you don't see us. It just means the Senate wasn't in session. We are going to put together a calendar for everybody as well and post it so you can see the entire Senate calendar so that you know when we are in session. We're going to show you how to log on and watch session. If you want to do that, you can log on and watch it online. But anytime the Senate is in session, I will be here on Fridays to give you the recap, take questions, and wish you a good weekend. Oh my God, Lloyd. Hey, Lloyd. Lloyd was a coworker of mine at Mattel in California who is logging on to join us in Michigan. Welcome. Really good to see you. And with that, I'll give you all your weekend. Everybody, it is going to be stinking beautiful this weekend. We really lucked out with some amazing, amazing weather. Please get outside, take advantage of it before winter is coming and we are all inside. I know I will be outside having a bunch of ice cream and just enjoying the sun. So with that, it looks like this new system works. That's really exciting. And I hope you have a good weekend. Our email address is right there. If you have any questions at all, please email us. And thank you on behalf of myself and my entire team. And we will see you next time.